Hello, for those who have joined us. We're going to wait a few minutes and allow people a chance to sign in. So probably 1 or 2 minutes after 5 o'clock, we'll begin. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I know it takes a lot to spend a little bit of time with us, but we really appreciate you joining us. So thank you. My name is Jason Georgiorian, and I'm a principal at LGA Architecture. And I just want to start with a little bit of logistics for our webinar today. Number one, this is being recorded. So if you miss any part of it, don't worry. Sometime next week, you'll receive an email with a link to this recording. In addition, everyone who's attending today is muted. So although you will not be able to voice during the presentation, we encourage you to use the Q&A button that you find on your Zoom screen. And you can ask questions anytime. and we'll do our best to get those answered. And we're gonna have a Q&A session at the end of the presentation today. So there'll be a chance to type those questions in live and get answers at that time also. In addition, there's a chat function in Zoom. I encourage you also to leave any comments in your chats, and there's gonna be times in this presentation we ask you to do so. So please be on the lookout for those buttons. And finally, another webinar logistics thing is there's gonna be a few times that we're gonna do an online survey as part of this presentation, and you're gonna be prompted, and once I prompt you, you will see a pop-up window, and you'll have the opportunity to answer the questions that way, and we'll show those results after everyone answers. So what to expect today? First off, we're gonna begin with the introduction by Commissioner Naft, and you should see him on your screen also. I'm gonna turn it over to him in a minute. We're gonna go over the project schedule. The construction of a community center takes a long time in planning and preparation, and we're gonna talk about those steps and what to expect in terms of schedule. We're gonna go over the community center goals. We've heard a lot of things already, and there's some things in the works that will set kind of a nice framework and groundwork for the project once we begin. And we'll look at the site of the Silverado Ranch Park and the location for the new community center there. And then we're gonna also go over the survey. There's an online survey that's ongoing now, and we're gonna have one that we do live in this session today. And finally, we'll have a question and answer session, and we hope there's some questions that come. So if you have any problems, don't hesitate to use a chat function, and we have people who are monitoring those questions in that chat, and they'll help you as we go along. So without further ado, I am going to stop sharing the screen and allow Commissioner Naft to do an introduction.
Well, thank you so much, Jason, and thank you everybody for participating tonight in what is, for me, and I know for many of you, a really exciting opportunity here in Clark County. As you all know by now, we have dedicated land on the Silverado Ranch Park for the site of Clark County's newest community center. This is, for those who don't know, not that often of an occurrence, especially nowadays with financial considerations and constraints that we're all under. But because I'm going to introduce Tiffany Hesser in just a moment, but because of her and her diligence with Governor Sisolak when he served on this role in the county commission, they were able to reserve park bonded dollars that can only be used for such purposes for this project. So I'm really glad to get to be the best beneficiary, along with all of you who hopefully live and work and play in this community and know the value of a Clark County facility and an asset like this one's going to be. I represent District A, which goes from Flamingo Road all the way south to the California-Arizona border, goes west as far as Durango and as east to Eastern. It's a huge district which incorporates part of Enterprise, Spring Valley, Searchlight, Laughlin, and a bit of Paradise. So as you can tell, there's a lot of ground to cover and a lot of area that we could have selected for the site of this park, for the site of this community center. But I'm so glad that we chose Silverado Ranch. I truly believe it's an area that's going to benefit so much by this project. But what was most important to me and the whole team that you'll hear from tonight was that we made sure that we not just build a building, but build a community in this center. And we need you to do that. Only you know what is best for your community. You know what assets you have and what assets we might be missing out on in your neighborhood, particularly this unincorporated part of Clark County that doesn't necessarily have as many county assets as other parts of our community do. This will be our 26th community center in Clark County. That doesn't include the 8 senior centers that we have. We also have a variety of special use facilities, such as our shooting complex, wetlands park, Camp Lee Canyon, and several aquatic facilities throughout Clark County. So this will be an important piece of that. And that's why we have a wide variety of team members who are here to help us put this project together and to really answer any questions that you might have, but also take your input. We want to know what programs you want to see at this community center. We want to know what type of space you want. And most importantly, Silverado Ranch Park is an important amenity for the community. So we want to make sure that we are joining that park and lifting that park up. We don't want to take anything away from what's already existing. So if there's something from that area that you've really appreciated, let us know that too. So we're cautious in the way that we develop out this piece of land. I mentioned a little bit Tiffany earlier, but she's on here and just want to acknowledge her. She's with my office, and as I mentioned, was with Governor Sisolak when he represented District A for 10 years and been with the office since I got there 2 years ago. And she's helping all along the way with this project. And if there's anything you need from my office, feel free to call her or I anytime. We want to make sure that this is that we're actively involved in the process and making sure you're getting what you want out of this center. If I could take a moment to introduce the entire team, everybody has been working so hard to get us to this point, to secure the funding, to get the initial plans in place. And it really is a great team. We meet weekly, and I'm so glad to be going through this process with them. If I can introduce Faye Monseterio is our design and construction administrator from Real Property Management. From Clark County Parks, we have Daryl, Rich, and Justin Williams, who are incredible and know, though I mentioned the 25 other community centers, they know what works, what doesn't work, and are going to help us make sure that this facility is one that works in every way possible for both the users, but also for the staff and the personnel who are going to really make that community center run. I'm really proud that we're working with LGA as our architecture firm. They cite on their website that architecture is the part of articulating a user's journey or story, one that considers not just how a place can look, but how it can be better for the humans who interact with it. And that's exactly what I want out of this project, and I know that they're going to help deliver. They've done it in similar facilities throughout Clark County and multi-generational centers such as Skyview, nonprofit campuses such as Opportunity Village in District A and Discovery Children's Museum. And they've built libraries big and small throughout our community. So they are absolutely the right firm for the job, and I've just been really glad to get to work with them. The team on this project include Alexia Chen, John Lansdale, and Jason Georgian, who you heard from earlier today. So again, I just thank you so much for participating in this way, letting us know what's important to you. And this won't be the end of our public input process. We will, through our town boards, through the county commission, I'll be updating the community during emerging issues at Tuesday's Board of County Commissioner meetings. But anytime throughout this process, I hope you'll call on me and let me know how we can improve the community, both through this project and through other things that we're doing all around A and particularly in Silverado Ranch. So thank you so much. At this time, I'll turn it back over to Jason to manage the program tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Naft. You're not the first person to struggle with my last name, and you definitely will not be the last. So, but that was a great introduction. I think you did a great job.
After 3 years of working together on this, I'll definitely get it down.
Yeah, I think so. It takes a little bit. So I'm going to go back to sharing my screen here. So the next on our agenda tonight, we're going to talk about the schedule. And as I mentioned earlier, a project schedule on a project such as this, it's a long time coming, and it just doesn't happen overnight. We are obviously December of 2020. We're in what we're considering the public outreach and programming phase. And I just want to start off and say commend Commissioner Naft and the county. To date, we have sent out over 9,000 postcards to residences and apartments around the 2-mile radius from the Silverado Ranch Park site. And that has to be commended because very few projects have that type of outreach, and I just very special to be part of. In addition to the postcard mailer, there is an online survey, and we're gonna walk over that a little bit. That online survey is going to be available to December 15th. And next, why is all this community outreach important? Well, it's important to have a voice and everyone have a say in the process, and that's where we're at now, and that's why we're having this session now, and there are going to be more public outreach sessions in the next additional phases that are upcoming. And the reason that's so important, because the cost of change, we want to hear input now. We don't want to wait until the building is constructed to understand, oh, that wall should have been moved over here, or this program should have been here and it's not here. We want to hear those things now, because that cost of have the biggest bang for the buck. We can make those changes now without affecting that dollar amount at the end. So after this programming phase, and what programming is for us, it's a recipe for design. So once our recipe for design, our community outreach is done, the programs are figured out, we'll publish a report, we'll turn that into Clark County for review, and we'll move into a phase called schematic design. Schematic design is where we will develop the conceptual look of the building. It is here you'll start to see three-dimensionally virtual building, the look, the floor plans, and those will be presented at town board meetings and at public hall and planning board of commissioners. So there will be additional public meetings, additional chances for you to see what's happening, and we'll kind of get into that in future sessions. So after the schematic design, we're going to go into say about the second quarter or fourth quarter of 2021. We're getting into design and construction documentation, and here's more detailed design. We figured out all the programs and nice things that are going to the community center. We figured out the look of the building. Now we're going to engineer it and do the construction drawings. That will go on for most of next year in 2021. Towards the end of 21, we're going to go into those construction drawings will be reviewed by the Clark County Building Department, the Fire Marshal, and Public Works. So once they have approved and we have all those agency approvals, we'll have a construction bid, and that construction bid will happen most likely in the first quarter of 2022. After a public bid is made open and contractors have the plans in hand and they submit their bids, those bids will be confirmed and a contractor will be awarded. And so we anticipate construction starting in the second quarter of 2022. And we anticipate a groundbreaking ceremony at that time. And then after construction is complete, we'll have a ground opening. That will occur in the third quarter of 2023. So I hope that explains the schedule. If you have any questions or comments on that, feel free to ask those as part of your Q&A or in your comments. So next, we're going to talk about the community center goals. These are some of we identified a number of goals for the project, and hopefully we learn a few more from you. But here's the ones that we've come up with already. First off, we want to strengthen the Silverado Ranch community and provide strengthen the identity in the community. We want to create a strong presence. And we hope that this community center, is a source of pride in Silverado Ranch. Next, Commissioner Naft talked about recreation needs, and we want to fulfill those recreation needs in the community. We want to bring those services and programs that are found in other communities and bring it right to the Silverado Ranch neighborhood. And this is where the memories and experiences that will last a lifetime are created. My daughter learned how to paint in our local community center, and that's something she carries with her to this day. And in her spare time, she still paints. So those are the kind of experiences and memories we want to provide for you and your family. Recreation is about stimulating the mind, the body, and the spirit, and we want to do that for the community. So not only this is what healthy living is about. In addition to healthy living, we want to provide a healthy building. The building itself, we want to be constructed of healthy building materials, and we want to go up and beyond and the highest standard to do the best we can for good air quality. And one strategy we know for that is we're going to increase natural air ventilation throughout the building and have the best filtration practices designed into this. That way, that interior space is the best it can be. Next, we have environmental goals and energy, and that go around a lot about energy conservation. Again, I want to commend Clark County. They have now adopted new energy goals for new buildings. to reduce amount of high standards that we have not had to apply to commit to before, but now it's out for everyone. All their new buildings are committed to a certain standard of energy conservation. In addition, we're going to look at water conservation strategies. That's important. We're in the desert, so low flow water fixtures. We have to be careful where our water use is and treat it as a natural resource as we should. Next is goal is about flexibility of programs and functions. So here's one thing we know. This community center is supposed to last forever. So, and we do know programs and services change over time, or there's pandemics, things happen. We want to build in as much flexibility for this community center as possible. We want to create spaces that can be adopted, change over time, can hold different types of programs, and that's going to be part of our design goals. And finally, we want to connect to the existing park and strengthen the park and its amenities with the community center. So this strong connection, this is a lesson from quarantine. We all know. I'm sure most of us have used this time to connect with the outdoors, and that's something we see in the future, is that outdoor connection from inside out. We want to strengthen in this community center and really have that community center be an anchor for this park. So just a little bit about the ground, everyone, where the community center is going to be. I think most people on here today understand where Silverado Ranch Park is. If you're not familiar with it, it's at the corner of Silverado Ranch and Gillespie Boulevard and Gillespie Street. And the park itself has a lot of amenities already: baseball field, softball, half-court basketball. There's outdoor space for people to go. There's a skate park. So we want to be respectful of those existing amenities with the location of the new community center. And so we want to not impact those as, try to keep everything in place as it is and just build upon what's there. And that led us to think about the center site to be on the north side of the park where there's vacant available land. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. And this is a view that's a little bit closer up. A little bit zoomed into that site that's on the north side. So this will be north of the baseball field that you see here on the south. So a couple things. We're going to create a new drive access to Silverado Ranch. So you can access the site, the new community center site, from Silverado Ranch. In addition, we want to connect to the existing parking lot. That existing parking lot already has a drive from Gillespie. That exit will allow you to right turn in, right turn out, left turn in, left turn out. So it has a lot of access along Gillespie. So we want to maintain that as the main entrance. But the drive on Silverado, I think we're able to get a right turn in and a right turn out only. We're not going to be able to cross the median. So that would be a support drive there. The pedestrian connections are really important. We have a pedestrian connection to the corner of Gillespie and Silverado Ranch where there's a nearby bus stop. And then we're also want to strengthen all the sidewalk connections from the park leading up to the community center. One of the things we want to do is provide an easy drop-off experience, and that's in front of the entrance we're planning. In addition, that drop-off, we hope to not only provide easy access for dropping off kids or for senior mobility or other experiences, but we want to be able to convert that drop off to a plaza. And hopefully that's an idea we can show you how that looks in the future. And then I'm going to keep on going here. So there's a couple other special site features that we're planning on. We talked about the plaza area in front of the building. We want to have that outdoor plaza for outdoor events. We talked about the importance of the outdoors and connecting to the outdoors. And also there's stormwater. There's a stormwater drainage on the very east side of the site by Gillespie, and there's a big stormwater drainage channel on the west side. So our idea is we want to flow water naturally as best as possible and be sensitive to that stormwater and get the water away from the parking area and get into those drainage areas that are there. So that's about the site. Again, please ask any questions. We're going to be here to answer those as we go along. All right. We mentioned earlier there's an online poll, and what I'm going to try to demonstrate to you is where that's located. I think most of you may have already seen this, but if not, I want to show you where that's at and what we can do that. So I clicked on the link there. If you received the postcard or you reach us by social media, it should have brought you to this landing page on the Silverado Ranch Community Center planning. And I believe this page is going to be updated over time. So this might be a bookmark you want to keep so you can come back in the future and check out what's happening. So towards the bottom of the current, there is a take a survey button, and that survey will open up a Google online survey. If you haven't already, please take a moment to fill out the survey. We're going to go over those again today live, but we encourage you to go back and do the survey also. I think the only thing that's required in the survey is enter your email address. You can see an introduction from Commissioner Naft to talk a little bit more about the project and the purpose of the project and where the funds came from and this fulfilling of community need here. And then there's questions related to program and services, questions related to sports and recreation, and questions related to architectural features. And then finally, opportunities to add input and do a little bit of demographic understanding. So please fill this out for your family and share with your neighbor and let them know it's here, because we like to hear from everyone we can. So without further delay, let's kind of go into a little bit of that online polling ourselves. And I'm going to, we're going to ask the first question. And these are about program options. So we've offered 12 program options as part of the online survey. So let's go over those 12, and let's start off by, I'm going to pull up a little polling session here. So everyone should see a live poll. Hopefully this works for you. The first question is, which program or services would you like to see offered at the new community center? Select all that apply. So you can select all of them or the ones that are most important to you. Go ahead and do so now. And then what happens at the end of it, I'll show there's a second part to this, and then we'll show results. If there's options that you do not see, don't worry. There's a survey button or a chat button. Enter your desired program or service that you do not see, enter it there, and then that way we'll have record of it. And we're going to be compiling all these answers and publish our results back to Clark County, and those will be made available to you. I see we have a few answers going. I'll give you a few more moments to keep answering. And so there's a part A question and there's a part B. So on your poll, you might have to scroll down to see the second part. I'll just give it one more minute. Oh, they have a few more, so I'm gonna give it a moment to make sure everyone has the opportunity to enter. So there's 12 answers total. Just select all the ones that you feel are the highest priority for you. Great. I'm gonna give it another 15 seconds. So hopefully I'll give you the last opportunity to add anything if you haven't yet. Okay, this poll is going to close. If you didn't get in what you wanted, it's completely all right. Like I mentioned, there's other opportunity on the online survey. I'm going to share the first results. So first results, pretty even on the first list here. Yoga, fitness weights, neighborhood meetings, arts and crafts, and gardening classes come in pretty high. Gymnastics a little bit lower with 5 of 18, and that's okay, because I mentioned there's other polls and surveys. Who knows where the ending findings are going to be. little bit of desire for summer camps and teen services. And senior services are fairly high. Games, really nice on performing arts. I know that's near and dear to Commissioner Naft's heart. So I'm sure he's happy to see that. And cooking classes, and that was one of the questions we had in about cooking and how important would that be in the neighborhood. So that's good to see there. So I am going to stop sharing this now, and we're going to move into the second question. And that's going to go to the next slide. So this question's about which gymnasium sports would you like to see offered at the new community center? And I'm going to launch that poll now. The choices you have are basketball, volleyball, badminton, floor hockey, and futsal. And I know futsal is probably the least known of these popular sports. It is indoor soccer that's played on a gymnasium floor. I know that because my kids play a lot of soccer. So we're getting a few responses now. I'll give it some time. You can select all the ones that you would like to see. And again, as before, feel free in the chat, offer is any comments you there on gymnasium sports that you'd like to see that's not on this list. And we're going to do our best to take everything into consideration and when we finalize this program document. Give it about another 10 seconds. All right, I'm going to share those results. Looks like leading number one is we have basketball. I think that's a favorite sport, especially in gymnasium. And I think plans for that gymnasium, that's going to be a major component there. Volleyball, badminton, and floor hockey. Volleyball has a high score also. And then kind of mid-range is the badminton and floor hockey. And then we have a few futsal. So thank you for those results. Now we're going to move to what kind of architectural features do you want to see in the new community center? And this is going to be the next question, and I will launch that now. We've offered 4 options here, although use your imagination. Anything beyond these 4 options, please, again, use your chat function to offer any comments there. The first one is public art, and public art can take many forms. Examples you see here in the picture is outdoor public art. That can also occur inside the building too. Indoor-outdoor connection, we talked a little bit, and especially that's very important now in these days. And that can happen through openings or large openings that can open up, like classrooms can bleed out to outdoor space and create that kind of connection. Skylights, I think that was about natural lights, bringing in light from above and have well-lit, natural lit spaces. And finally, outdoor plaza. And then we talked about that idea on our site plan, where that might go. Great. When we give this one a few more seconds, we'll give you 10 more seconds. All right, so I'm going to end that poll and we'll look at the results there. So wow, the indoor-outdoor connection highest voted. Coming in second is that outdoor plaza, which I think ties into the idea of indoor-outdoor connections, and public art was there. And then last was skylights. In our current group, there was not any votes for that, unfortunately. So, but that's okay. Offer again any other features, either site features, architectural features, sports, and programs or services. Please offer those in your chat that you didn't see here today. All right, so that's we have one more question. And this, it was just that. Use your chat again to offer any write-ins, any thoughts. And I know there was a few already. Please continue to do so. Now I'm going to stop the screen sharing online presentation, and I'm going to open it up to our panelists. And we're going to respond to any questions we have. And I encourage you now to also ask questions. There's a Q&A button. Ask questions as much as possible, and we'll do our best to get everything answered for you today.
Hey, Jason, if I could just jump in, I saw one question about the skate park in particular.
Okay.
And wanted to address that, and I typed out a response as well, but just directly want to make sure everybody knows that we had extensive conversations about this, but it is not our intention to diminish what's already there. We want to only enhance and improve on it. So that's why if you saw in the design that Jason showed at the beginning of his presentation, the new community center kind of works around the skate park. So I think that having the community center there could be a good kind of cohesive nexus between the skate park and the activities inside, meaning that there will be staff on site, and there could be a little bit more interaction between the skate park and the community center, but we definitely won't be taking that amenity out.
Thank you, Commissioner Naft. I did fail to mention that. That was a point I wanted to make. Okay. Well, if our panelists want to screen share, or not screen share, turn their cameras on, I think we can get into some of these questions. So hopefully everyone can see.
I was just going to add, Jason, I saw another one here about the dog park, which is a great question. And maybe, I don't know if Justin, you want to address that. They're asking about some programming that might occur regarding, and I agree, every morning I'm there. It's a well-utilized park for dog owners, both in the dog park itself, but also throughout that entire park. So I think that's a great point that's being made there. Is there, Justin, does the county currently offer, or could we explore the potential of offering some program around owning dogs and safety around pet responsibility?
We currently don't do anything kind of unique just to dog parks, but once we have a center in that facility, it allows us an opportunity to do any kind of programming in the park a little bit easier. So if that's something that's interesting to the public, specifically this neighborhood, we could potentially have the new center look at doing some programming for the dog park users out in the dog park, because they'll have staff on site. It's difficult when we don't have staff at the facility to have those kind of programs, but this center actually gives us a lot more flexibility. So I think that's definitely something we can consider.
Thank you.
Jason,
So,
there was a question earlier about the roundabout for the drop-off, and I wanted to make sure that that got answered properly. It's during the day or when there's no outdoor plaza activity, it'll be used as a drop-off, but it'll be able to be closed off during special events so that the drop-off area can be used for a special event and vehicles wouldn't be allowed to get in there.
Yeah. Thank you, John. And that's true. It's not something that's going to happen daily. It's more for special events and have that ability to increase usability. And we talked about that concept of flexibility, and that's ultimate flexibility there to be able to capture that outdoor space when needed for a special event. So there's another question. What are the plans for crime mitigation since it's so close to Las Vegas Boulevard? Who wants to take a stab at that one?
I'm happy to. Clark County does have a park police operation. They're unfortunately overtaxed with how many parks we have. So we contract with the Metropolitan Police Department in lots of our parks. And that's a good point. The proximity to the boulevard, but also all of our parks have the potential. They are public spaces It's something that Tiffany and I have worked closely with Metro on, particularly as Metro has gone through their redistricting recently. So making sure that nothing falls through the cracks, making sure that our area commands know what our hot spots are and where to best allocate their resources has been a way that we've really prioritized that, and making sure that nothing falls through during that process. And I think they've done a really good job with the area commands that we work with. But I would also add, if there's a specific concern, if you're having the same issue day after day, give Tiffany or I a call and we'll get together. We've done in different neighborhoods throughout the district, community meetings with Metro. We've gotten their community engagement team out. We could even do it at the park and really get a handle on what the specific problem is and get to work addressing it.
With respect to the building, I think also there will be a security system and a camera system. So.
Yeah, that's a good point, John. Thank you. And it'll be well staffed. And also we have the benefit with this community center, one, because this whole team has done this so many times before and knows, as I mentioned early on, what works and what doesn't work. We have the benefit of that experience and history at some of our other centers. So as an example, we know that too many main entrances and exits is not necessarily a good thing. We want to have one focal point where people come, they're greeted warmly by Parks and Recreation staff at a front desk. They're checked in. We know who's in the building and they know who the staff and personnel are throughout the facility. So that's something that we have the benefit of this building, this facility being built at the time it's being built. We have that experience to work off of.
Yeah, thank you.
I was going to mention the next question about swimming, and there are some other comments and questions in the chat about outdoor tennis courts or water play area. I don't know if the parks or commissioner would like to respond to this as a whole about what our plans are.
Justin, you can jump in there.
So this project really pertains to the center itself. We are going to try to make sure it ties to the park and works with what's existing there. But there, in the scope, there is not funds to build new outdoor facilities like a splash pad or a tennis court. But this group will make sure we note it and look for additional funds in the future, or see kind of where this project ends up in the end, right? But that wasn't part of the scope of this, which was really the center and making sure the center works with the existing amenities.
Yeah, that's right, Justin. I do think that, and what we've talked about, I think it was mentioned here, but that plaza is real, as far as outdoor space goes, that's going to really be our opportunity. Things like, I think that outdoor chess idea is great. I think that would be a perfect thing for our plaza area. We've also sort of, the way I visualize it, and I want to hear from everybody, but somebody is trying to get a better sort of visual as to what that might be. But if you've ever been to the East Las Vegas Community Center, the city of Las Vegas has maybe a smaller version of that, a space where you could have a trio playing music out on an elevated platform, but it could also be used for a variety of other things. So outdoor amphitheater type space, but probably not nothing too permanent, so that it could be used for a multitude of purposes.
Next question, is there any talks about putting in wooden floors for the gymnasium?
I think that's what we had planned on, was it not, a sprung wood floor?
Yeah, Daryl or Justin, would you like to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, we as a department strongly agree that wood floors are what is necessary in new gymnasiums. It gives us the best flooring solution for the activities that can be played in a gym. So we would totally agree with that comment.
I was smiling a little bit because to the person who asked the question, that's a great question and something that literally on the first day we talked about this community center was something that came up. And I think to avoid injury and to make sure that we are really putting in the proper investment into if there is basketball, then absolutely I think something we'll need and something we looked very closely at when we toured lots of other facilities in the county and in the city. So it's a great question. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Alexa, you want to ask the next question?
There's next question is there a possibility of having some unique indoor features such as designated pickleball courts or racquetball courts? And also in the chat, there are some comments around indoor walking or jogging track. I wonder if anyone from the parks would like to respond to this. And I think partially what we're doing here is to get some of these ideas that we may not know about that the community wants.
I think any of the indoor amenities are something this team will consider. Racquetball and pickleball and those kind of things. The indoor track's a little bit bigger of an item because it takes a lot of room and requires some designated space, but I think we'll take that into consideration. It may be a little more tricky to incorporate into a center of this size as opposed to a larger multi-court center, but we'll make sure we look at it and assess whether or not it's a feasibility or not.
So a great question here. And I think it's a question we need to ask ourselves during design. Is this building being set up for possible expansion since not all the site will be built out? Meaning there's available land, the community center is not going to take up the whole site. Are we going to allow space for expansion? Who wants to tackle that one? Commissioner Naft?
Yeah, I mean, yes, there's always room for expansion. And I think certainly, I think you mentioned that the way we look at this is that it's got to last forever. That's sort of the amount of work and the responsible approach that we're taking into this project. So yes, I wouldn't want to, we are very excited to be able to build this project. So I wouldn't even hint at calling it a phase one. This is a standalone community center that's going to be an incredible asset to the community. But never say never. And if one day we can fight to get more dollars for Silverado Ranch and for this facility, yeah, we wouldn't, there's the potential for it. I'd say that we're not, Tiffany, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're not totally landlocked here.
No, we're not completely landlocked, but I think just realistically looking at it, this isn't going to be a, say, Desert Breeze size facility. We don't have that kind of acreage. So,
yeah.
But I think there could potentially, if the funding were to work out, there would be an ability to perhaps expand.
Yeah, and I think what we want to do with this, we're not going to call it a phase project. We're going to call it's going to stand alone and be a great resource. But I think having that ability for the future, like we said, this is going to be here a long time. The community is going to still grow, and if that occurs, I think if we're prepared for that the best we can without adding a lot of dollars to the original design, I think we should do that.
Right.
As many
Given
of the
given the interest in this, I think that flexibility of the space is going to be one of our major focuses so that everybody's able to get some of what they want out of a community center.
Yeah, great point, Tiffany.
And as a lot of comments mention or ask about there will be still space available in this park, and as parks and rec professionals, we're always looking to add amenities to parks down the road, but we're limited in our funds and our scopes on this, so we're focused on the center and creating that nice amenity and getting as much as we can out of it. But there'll be other opportunities down the road to do some other things.
Great. There's another question, Alexa. Do you want to ask that one?
Yeah, so someone that had missed the beginning of the webinar wants to know if the community center will be environmentally friendly with solar power, etc.
I think as a firm, we always want our projects to be environmentally friendly. If we don't have the funds to do solar at this time, we will certainly provide the infrastructure for it to be added later.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, we when we had this discussion, but making sure that we have the ability, if the county's successful in seeking out and getting additional funding by way of grants, would be a good opportunity to do some add-ons. Particularly, I think the questioner mentioned specifically solar panels. In other centers, that's how it's been done, and hasn't come out of the capital for the project, but it's been prepared for so that it could be added on through grant or third party or other dollars that we can get our hands on.
Yeah, and I think it's on us. We're going to design the roof in such a way that those panels could be added in the future when the funds are available. Part of our sustainable strategy is involved in making as energy as efficient building as we can to drive the energy use down. So when if a grant is used for solar panels in the future, the goal would be to offset all the energy use. But the most economical way to do that is drive the amount of energy use down in the original design, add the panels in the future to offset all those energy uses. So hopefully in the future, if it can't happen right away, hopefully this building could be net zero in the future, net zero energy use.
So I answered one of the questions on the Q&A chat. I don't know if everyone caught that, but somebody asked a question, how many square feet is the proposed center? And I just answered it's going to be about 28,500 square feet.
Correct. Thank you, Faye.
There were a couple other comments and questions in the chat regarding an all-purpose room available for rental. I think we can say that that's definitely part of the plan that's currently being worked on. So that will be part of it. There's some additional suggestion on the indoor running track implementation that we can review with the Parks Department.
We're getting a few more questions in, so it's great. Thank you. Next question we have is, not sure about the fitness room, but would like to see some modern equipment such as fitness walls. Question, I don't know if, and then there's also, okay, I was seeing if there's other thing related to that, but the fitness room question, and I think there was also some comments about modern looking equipment and type of equipment that may be provided. Justin or Daryl, you want to answer that one?
Yeah, in all our fitness rooms, we try to always incorporate the newest, latest, and the greatest equipment. So we try to stay on top of that trend. So whatever we decide and how that will be designed and developed, we'll make sure that we are using updated, modern equipment.
Okay, Alexei, you want to ask the next question?
I'm answering a couple of those on the typed answer.
Type. Okay.
So I just talk about those real quick. There's a question about whether or not this could be a single story or a two-story building. This will be a single story building. And also in terms of the size of 28,500 square feet, what's the current center that will be compared to? I think the one that we're looking comparable in size is the Paradise Community Center. Okay, so the next question is, are we considering holding youth programs like a day camp? So it's probably a question for parks.
Yeah, we will be considering doing summer camps, off-break camps, and those type of programming at the facility. So we'll make sure everybody's aware of those programs as we get started.
The next question is, are there any plans to give the baseball field a minor facelift? And I think perhaps this goes along with all the existing park amenities. if parks wants to kind of give that overall response, because I know we talked about that this project right now is about the center, but other suggestions are welcome.
Our parks maintenance group is always looking to make sure things are current and up to date and operable, right? And if there was anything that was damaged or broken, we're always trying to make sure those things are fixed. We've always tried to add amenities like shade over the bleachers and stuff like that, which I think we did at this park a few years ago. Again, this particular project doesn't have funding to go out and do facelifts to amenities in the park, but we are always looking at those opportunities and addressing those and assessing those as needed. So we appreciate the comments. We'll look at it and continue to assess as needed.
Justin, I'm also going to put in a plug for the new app that Clark County launched last 2 weeks called Fix It Clark County. If there's something specific, I tell everyone, you can always email or text me or call me if there's something you see. But now we have through Fix It Clark County, I'd encourage everyone here to download it, keep it on your phone. If you ever see something out and about in your community that's not right, whether it's graffiti or whatever maintenance issue might need to be done in a park or in any county space or public right of way, you could just snap a picture and it gets submitted to, I get copied on everything, but it also goes to the appropriate county department or agency to help solve that problem. So if it's something, I don't know if that applies to the question about the maintenance or updating of the baseball diamonds, but that might be just something to keep in your back pocket.
There are a lot of questions here with respect to walking and running, indoor walking and running tracks. I think we touched on it a little bit earlier, but somebody's suggesting even an elevated running or walking track. But I think in most program rooms that we have in this space, an elevated track would interfere with, say, if it was in the gymnasium with basketball that was going on and things like that. They need a higher ceiling than a 12-foot above floor walking track.
It's been done in some centers here in town, and we can look at that as whether or not it's a feasible amenity in the center, but this team will assess, I think, those things, look at that. Most jogging tracks are raised or elevated above the other amenities in the center because they kind of that way it stays away from causing traffic congestion or issues. But we'll have the team look at those things, look at that as a possibility.
Then we have a question about, is there a possibility of bicycle rentals for the associated pathways? Does the county have rental programs for bicycles?
I won't speak for Justin or Del Earl Parks. They probably know, they definitely know more than I do, but we could certainly look into working with the RTC. They have docking stations throughout town, particularly more so in downtown, kind of the urban part. But that would probably be a potential solution. I don't know if we do anything internally through Parks and Rec. It's a good idea.
We currently don't have a program where anybody can rent bicycles. We did have a program at Sunset Park for a while, but it was we stopped doing it. But you're right, Commissioner. RTC, we can work with them where we could possibly work with them through the center and have some bikes available so that people could check them out and then be able to ride around as needed.
Right.
So we have a question about another, I would call it a feature. And this is about asking the question about how feasible it is to have a flexible rooftop event covered with solar panels to provide shade to make a flexible outdoor space without expanding the footprint. I think it's an interesting solution, and I think when having anything on the rooftop where we talk about 1-story versus 2-story, There's always things to consider with that is accessibility and providing accessibility for everyone, which in this case would be an elevator. And that's a pretty high expense when doing things on 2 levels. So it's something I think we can consider in solution and see how feasible it is, but we definitely don't want to prohibit other features happening on the building or other programs happening for a building of this size. So I don't know if anyone has anything else to add to that. Okay. Well, we had a lot of good questions. I appreciate all the feedback so far.
It would seem like we've gotten to all of the questions and comments.
There's
If-
one
if I
about the
may-
seniors lounge that somebody is saying they would like to have a seniors lounge with books and a reading area.
Yeah, Cynthia, I think that's a great idea and something we can look into for sure, particularly given that there isn't a senior center, municipal senior center anywhere nearby. So I think that's a good question and something we'll definitely pursue. And we would look to you if you want to send in, or you could email, you don't have to do it, but any things you would want out of that, either on the program side or the amenity side, what would make for a good, high quality senior room or area.
Another question pop up about the indoor lap pool. I think we answered earlier that there is currently not plans for any kind of pool or water play amenity for this particular project.
And then I think early on, there were some comments about not being able to select more than one option in the online polling. We certainly encourage everyone to go in and answer the survey, where you'll have the flexibility of answering the questions multiple times and filling in some responses as well. So you feel it wasn't captured in our live survey, we just wanted to get a snapshot, during this, but you'll certainly have the opportunity to expand more on the online.
Right.
Service.
And we'll
And
definitely, the comments will all be saved, and we will include that with all the survey responses and analyze how we can try our best to implement most of these suggestions.
And we really appreciate those that are attending and the comments that they're providing. It's exactly what we want, is some feedback on what they'd like to see at this center. And within the scope of what we have funds for, is we'll try to consider all these things. So.
Absolutely. Oh, we got something came in.
Question. Well, we have any additional meetings when design concepts are ready? Jason.
Yes, there will be. I think it'd be great to do another public meeting such as this, depending on where things are in society. But it is definitely, we'll have a town board meeting where when plans, schematic plans are shown to public, and we see public then. In addition, there's the website that was set up by the county, and I think that'd be a great opportunity to post things there, give updates, and elicit comments and feedback during the process. I think it's always better to get public feedback during a design process, and that, this project is for everyone, and everyone should have a say in what it is. So I think that's why we're doing this. So when that will happen, I think we can probably expect sometime in the first quarter of next year. We'll have plans, initial concepts and things that we can show. And the way we design, you're going to see a virtual building. We'll do walkthroughs, look at things three-dimensionally. Everyone's going to see a lot of detail right early on before any brick is laid out on site. So.
Yeah, Jason answered that perfectly. And like I said at the beginning, the engagement from the community is really, really important to us on this project. It's not every day that we get to build something like this. So we want to make sure that we are being responsive to the needs of the community. So we'll do that. I'd encourage, like you said, clarkcountynv.gov/Silverado Center is kind of the hosting page for where we'll put materials. But I'll continue to post at Michael Naft on Twitter, at Michael Naft LV on Facebook, and continue to mention it through every tool we have in our toolbox through Channel 4. We'll continue to provide updates on it through county commission meetings, planning commission, and town board. And something that didn't come up tonight, and I won't keep everybody too long, but is that right now it is our plan to host enterprise town board meetings will be at this community center, which is a really, really big deal. Right now they meet at, since we don't have enough county space nearby, they're meeting at the Windmill Library, which they've been a wonderful host to us and an incredible partner. But it'll be really nice to have dedicated town board space where the public can come on a every other week basis and hear updates and be part of the planning process and be part of what's going on in the community. So that's something that is really important to us as well, to have that appropriate space and to be able to serve the community in that way. So I think that'll be a big part of making this a hub for the community as well.
Great. And just want to mention we have a big thank you from the Silverado Little League for tonight.
Thank you. They play at our Diamonds there, so this will be a great amenity for them, and they have already been and will continue to be a really good partner in eliciting their feedback as we move forward. So thank you for the comment.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you all. So it looks like this is going to be the end of our Q&A session. There's a few thank yous going out, and really the big thank yous to all of you who joined us today. I am going to share my screen again, and it's going to give you a little bit of information in case you want to make a phone call, or if you want to get that link again to that website we showed you earlier. So I'm going to do that now. So any last words, parting words, Commissioner?
No, just end by thanking this team so much and for all the members of the public who came out tonight. And we look forward to hopefully one day getting together in person on the site of the community center to really get a scope of what the work looks like. But in the meantime, this has been a really good forum for hearing some really valuable insight. And I promise everybody, we take your input very seriously and are taking thorough notes of everything that's been commented. But I also just encourage everybody, this is, we're still in the early stages of this project, though a lot of work has been done already. This is, like Jason mentioned at the beginning, the time to get involved in this project. It's the time to say what you want, what you don't want out of this community center. So don't be shy, speak up. I'm michael.naft@clarkcountynv.gov. Also post our phone number, but please call and let us know how we can make this a project that you'll be involved with, but also one that you and your family will use for many years to come. So thank you all so much.
All right. Thank you all. We're going to close the open session tonight. Alexia,
just real quick, I just want to remind, because we don't have it on the slide here, that the survey will be open till the 15th of December. So definitely let your friends and family, neighbors know you still have a week to respond to the survey. And if you know anyone that cannot get online to fill it out, you could contact the Parks Department to receive a mail copy, or have someone fill it out. Maybe you could fill it out for your friends online.
Yeah, and again, you can find that online survey from the website here, clarkcountynv.gov/Silverado Center. So, thank you all, and again, you should see an email sometime by next week with this recording. So I hope you enjoyed. I thank you for your participation, and I hope everyone has a good night.